Imagine transferring to a new school. Everything seems normal at first. The classrooms look ordinary. The teachers behave normally. The students laugh, study, and go about their daily lives. But then you notice something strange. Everyone seems afraid. Not of a person. Not of a criminal. Not of a disaster. But of an invisible presence that nobody wants to talk about. That is exactly how the story of Another begins. At the center of the anime lies one terrifying question. What if death never truly left the classroom? Every year, a mysterious curse strikes Class 323. Someone who should be dead somehow returns. The students don't know who it is. The teachers don't know who it is. And as long as that person remains among them, people begin dying in horrifying accidents, one after another, without warning, without mercy. At first glance, the story appears to be pure supernatural horror. A ghost story, a curse, a tale about the dead returning to walk among the living. But what makes Another fascinating is that beneath its supernatural surface, many of its horrors resemble real phenomena that scientists, psychologists, and statisticians have studied for decades. And once you understand those connections, the story becomes even more disturbing. Because reality can sometimes look frighteningly similar to a curse. Let's begin with the deaths. Throughout the anime, the victims rarely die in simple ways. Instead, they are caught in bizarre chains of accidents. A staircase becomes deadly. An umbrella turns into a weapon. Structures collapse. Objects fall. Vehicles fail. Every death feels impossibly unlucky. So unlucky that the characters begin believing an intelligent force must be behind it. Yet in the real world, experts often see similar patterns after major disasters. There is a principle in safety science known as Heinrich's domino theory. According to this theory, accidents do not appear out of nowhere. They emerge from a chain of events. A neglected warning sign. A maintenance issue that nobody fixes. A dangerous habit that becomes normalized. A safety procedure that gets ignored. Each small failure becomes another domino waiting to fall. Eventually, one final event triggers catastrophe. To an outside observer, the disaster appears sudden. But in reality, the chain began long before anyone noticed. Many industrial accidents, transportation disasters, and workplace fatalities follow this exact pattern. Not because of fate, not because of curses, but because small problems accumulate until tragedy becomes almost inevitable. What's even more fascinating is how humans react when several tragedies occur close together. Psychologists call this the cluster illusion. Human brains evolved to recognize patterns. For our ancestors, spotting patterns meant survival. If several people became sick after drinking from a river, recognizing that pattern could save an entire tribe. But this ability can also deceive us. When multiple rare events occur close together by coincidence, our brains often assume they must be connected. Several accidents happen within a month. Several deaths occur in one community. Several unusual events happen in the same location. Even when statistics suggest randomness, people begin searching for hidden causes. A curse, a conspiracy, a supernatural explanation. Our minds dislike chaos. We prefer stories. And a curse is often easier to understand than randomness. This psychological tendency may explain why stories like Another feel so believable. Because deep down, many of us already think this way. But the accidents are only part of the horror. The true terror emerges when fear begins spreading among the students. As deaths increase, panic takes over. Students become suspicious of one another. Rumors spread. Trust collapses. Every conversation becomes tense. Every glance becomes suspicious. Every mistake becomes evidence. Eventually, fear transforms ordinary teenagers into people willing to betray, attack, and even kill each other. This might sound unrealistic, but history tells a different story. There is a real phenomenon known as mass psychogenic illness, more commonly called mass hysteria. This occurs when fear, stress, and anxiety spread through a group so effectively that people begin experiencing shared symptoms and beliefs. The effects can be astonishing. People may faint, experience breathing difficulties, feel severe pain, or become convinced they are in danger despite the absence of a physical threat. One famous example occurred in 1962 in Tanganyika, modern-day Tanzania. A few students began laughing uncontrollably. Soon, the laughter spread. Hundreds of people became affected. Schools closed. Communities were disrupted. The outbreak lasted for months. No virus was responsible. No toxin was found. The cause was largely psychological. Another famous case occurred in 1518, known as the Dancing Plague. Residents of a European city suddenly began dancing uncontrollably. Some danced for days. Others reportedly collapsed from exhaustion. Historians still debate the exact cause. But many researchers believe extreme psychological stress played a major role. These events reveal something unsettling. Human emotions can spread through groups almost like infections. Fear can become contagious. Panic can become contagious. And once enough people believe something, that belief can begin shaping reality itself. This is exactly what happens in Another. The curse doesn't merely kill people. It changes how people think. And sometimes that psychological transformation is more dangerous than the deaths themselves. But perhaps the most disturbing mystery involves the identity of the dead person. Someone in the classroom does not belong. Someone should be dead. Yet everyone sees them, talks to them, interacts with them, without realizing what they are. Interestingly, neuroscience contains disorders that resemble parts of this concept. One example is Capgras delusion. People suffering from this condition believe that someone they know has been replaced by an identical imposter. Their mother, their spouse, their child. The face is identical. The voice is identical. Everything appears normal. Yet the brain insists the person is fake. Imagine looking directly at your best friend and becoming convinced they are an imitation. A copy. A stranger hidden behind a familiar face. It sounds like a horror movie. Yet documented medical cases prove it can happen. Then there is Cotard syndrome, sometimes called walking corpse syndrome. People experiencing this rare disorder may believe they are already dead. Some claim their organs no longer exist. Others insist their bodies are rotting. Some genuinely believe they have ceased to exist despite continuing to walk, speak, and interact with the world. The idea of a dead person living among the living is fictional in another. But the human brain is capable of producing beliefs that are surprisingly close. And finally, there is the most realistic horror of all. The treatment of Mei Misaki. To reduce the curse, the class chooses a victim. Someone who will be ignored, excluded, treated as though they do not exist. No greetings, no conversations, no acknowledgement. Nothing. This practice mirrors a real psychological phenomenon called ostracism. Social exclusion may sound harmless compared to physical violence, but scientific studies reveal something shocking. When people are deliberately ignored, the brain activates regions associated with physical pain. In simple terms, rejection literally hurts. Humans evolved as social creatures. For most of human history, being expelled from a group could mean starvation, exposure, or death. As a result, our brains developed powerful mechanisms that treat exclusion as a serious threat. This is why loneliness can be devastating. This is why bullying can leave lasting scars. And this is why Mei Misaki's situation feels so uncomfortable to watch. Many viewers have never seen a ghost. Many viewers have never witnessed a supernatural curse. But almost everyone understands what it feels like to be ignored, to be isolated, to feel invisible. That fear is universal. So, if the events of another happened in a real school, scientists would not search for a student returning from the dead. They would investigate infrastructure failures, statistical clustering, collective anxiety, psychological disorders, and social dynamics. Yet despite all those explanations, the story remains terrifying. Because the greatest horror was never the ghost. It was human nature. Our tendency to panic. Our tendency to create patterns from randomness. Our tendency to isolate those who seem different. And our willingness to abandon logic when fear takes control. Perhaps that is why Another remains one of the most unsettling horror anime ever created. Not because it shows us something impossible, but because it shows us reflections of things that already exist. And that leaves us with one final question. If you were sitting inside class 3-3, watching classmates die one by one, listening to rumors spread through the halls, seeing fear consume everyone around you, now, it's important to make one thing clear. Within the world of Another, the curse is real. The story itself confirms it. The mysterious phenomenon affecting Class 323 is not simply a misunderstanding, a rumor, or a psychological illusion. It is an actual supernatural event that exists within the rules of that fictional universe. People are not imagining it. The incidents are not random. And the presence of the extra person is ultimately revealed to be part of the curse itself. So no, this video is not suggesting that the anime's events can be fully explained by science. Inside the story, the curse genuinely exists. However, what makes Another so fascinating is that many of the reactions to the curse feel remarkably realistic. Because in the real world, people often encounter situations that appear supernatural at first glance. A series of unfortunate incidents happens in a short period of time. Several people are affected by the same problem. Rumors begin spreading. Fear grows. People start connecting unrelated events. And before long, many become convinced that something paranormal must be responsible. Yet history repeatedly shows that what appears to be a curse is often a combination of psychology, coincidence, social influence, hidden environmental factors, or statistical patterns that our brains struggle to interpret correctly. This doesn't make the events any less frightening. In fact, it may make them even more unsettling. Because unlike a fictional curse, these real-world phenomena actually happen. The lesson is not that every mysterious event has a supernatural explanation, nor is it that every strange event can be immediately dismissed. The lesson is that before concluding that something is a curse, it is worth examining what is happening beneath the surface. What seems impossible at first may have causes that are simply difficult to see. And sometimes, understanding those causes reveals a reality that is just as fascinating and just as disturbing as fiction itself.